why don't you tell me who you are and what's the shit that you make, or what winery?
So, my name's Ian Brand, and we have a winery here in Salinas, California, and we make wines, local wines, so like a 40, 50 mile radius from the winery. Monterey County, San Benito County, Santa Clara County, and Santa Cruz County. All wines that are influenced by the Monterey Bay. That's the main geographic feature of our area. And trying to learn how to properly express the region and the place in wines.
So why do you make what you make?
Oh, well, so first off, I'm in wine because at one point in my life I needed a job, and I got a job in wine, and then I hit the age where I had to figure out what I was doing in my life, and it's what I knew how to do. And then we went looking for an area that had room, that had something that needed to be said about the area. I think wine is best when it's an expression of, when it has like a certain degree of somewhereness. And the kind of the best analogy for it for me is when like you have writing of place, and it's not just that the writing is about a place, but like the cadence and the verbiage and the stories, they all kind of emanate from somewhere. And for us down here, that's Steinbeck. I mean, the kind of one of the most reflective books of the Salinas Valley is East of Eden, and the first two chapters of East of Eden are just a perfect description, not only a description of the land, not only what they're describing, but just in the pace and just the sentences and the clearness of the prose. And so in wine, we try and do the same thing. This area is kind of a vast area of grapes. Monterey County is the second largest wine-grown county in California, but it's not a place that really had a voice or a style associated with it. And so over the last 12 years, we've been, trying to find what that style is, and then sharing that across the country and trying to create a niche for wines from this area. From our perspective, going to a town like Salinas, there's a lot of good work you can do in terms of community development. Salinas is a farm town. It's, I think, 85% Latino, and has gang problems, similar to Compton or Oakland. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot kind of more work we can do as an ancillary to running our business in a town like this than going somewhere like Napa or Santa Barbara, or places like that. Now, which is not to say that Napa 40 years ago didn't have a certain similarity to Salinas, but that work had already been done.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think makes you different, your brands different? And I think why should people give a shit?
Well, things that we've been told about our brands, I think, make them special is, one, I think we offer one of the best values in California, especially with our Petit Paysan brand, where we're selling wines that are of, boutique quality, and they're sub $25 on the shelf. And it's rare, whether, from Europe or from California especially, to find wines kind of that quality in that price point. And that's, making sure our wines are accessible is it's kind of a point of pride for us. Mm-hmm. The second piece is, this is a special, it's a different area. So it's an area that very naturally, it's one of the most temperate wine grown areas in the world. And we're down around the 36th, 37th parallel, so we're very sunny. Dry in the summertime, but you have winds coming off the bay, near constant winds all summer. So, and then soils west of San Andreas Fault. So when you're looking for low alcohol, lightness, freshness, expressiveness in that variety, it really is a perfect area to be doing that. The first handful of years we were making wine, we didn't really get how to put wines together. From this region, because it is so different than the concept of California wine is. But over the last handful of years, as we've been able to kind of figure out how the soil and the sky interacts and kind of how to capture, how to find that lens to see the place. I think we found like a really unique set of flavors that are really great with food, are expressive, are wonderful with the way we eat now. So hopefully that makes people care.
Yeah. So I'm going off script a little bit, but I have a follow-up question or related question, which is just thinking about you and your process, becoming a winemaker and the work that you've done there. Do you have a favorite part of the process? Like, is there a part of the year where you're like, oh, yay, we get to do this, or
Well, another thing that's kind of unique about us is we are an independent, we don't have partners, winery of reasonable size. And so in an area where there aren't many independent wineries like us. And my favorite part is the way I get to get involved in vineyards, and especially like really great ranches out in the hills, families that have been there for generations, old vines, 100-year-old vines, 50-year-old vines. First of all, just like having the gate codes to all these ranches. And so you're rolling around, you're like, what I'm going to do? I'm going to go check out this place for an hour or two and, kick some dirt, but mostly just sit under an oak tree and let things go for a while. And I just love being out in those places, and really like so much of how we figure out how to make a wine is sitting in a vineyard, kind of smelling what's wafting across the vineyard, seeing how the light, different times of day catches the grapes, and then trying to, in a certain amount of like synesthesia, translate that into liquid form. Interesting.
Just was curious. So at transitioning a little bit to the kind of related to what has been happening for the last few months now, call it a few months instead of a few weeks. Is there something that's been surprising to you in a positive way from this shelter-in-place quarantine situation?
Surprising in what way?
Well, the inspiration for these conversations that I'm having really came from how more intimate my business life became, because all of a sudden people were dealing with my kids fucking running into the room, or, you're on the phone and it's just a constant juggling. And so normally I like to have a little separation of church and state, and that of course went down the toilet like in 4 seconds.
And are you the church or the state?
Well, depends on the day. No. Separate. But in a good way, I think it was, we're seeing more the whole of each other and not just the little bits that we choose to reveal. So I think that was surprising for me, and that was what prompted the question.
Yeah, I want to say that part of like seeing in someone's life, when I set this up, I had a blank wall, and I moved this plant in to get sort of a Galifianakis between two ferns, but I'm just next to one leucodendron.
Nice.
Yeah. That it's normally in the spring and summer is the time where I have to engage a lot on sales trips. Ryewood work with wine dinners, festivals, events. And, part of I enjoy that, but like part of the reason you get into wine and working in wine cellars is you're, sort of, it's a kind of like a troglodytic existence. You're, a bunch of weirdos hanging out in their bodegas. And also choosing to live here in Monterey County, I just really love this place. The ocean, the coastline, the mountains, and the parks, and Big Sur, and it's been wonderful to be able to spend the spring and summer here, and taking the kids, out boogie boarding at Carmel Beach or Silomar, and teaching them mountain bike on the various trails around here, and spending my time. I've been doing some weird nesting, and so I started refinishing furniture in the evenings because
it was there
because I had time, yeah, and So, and I've been really enjoying that life, that kind of that slow down, that sense of home and place.
I can appreciate that
Yeah.
a little bit. So do you have a soundtrack for the time that you've spent? Like, there anything you've been listening to more than other stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I listen to stuff all the time. The latest thing I've been into is when I was in college radio, in school, I had a friend at the radio station named Otis Hart, who ended up going to work for NPR Music. And he just put out his top 50 songs for every year between 2000 and 2009.
Oh, wow.
Spotify playlist. And it's this, wonderful, nerdy trip down memory lane, anything from like free jazz to just, gnarly 2000s rap. And it's great. And it's, it's like multiple days to get through it. So that's been a lot of fun. And yeah, it's been a great opportunity to kind of take deep dives into different musical genres, different bits of information. Yeah, I've been really enjoying that.
Cool. So final question, and then you can be done with me, but and I'm talking about cocktails now. What is your drink?
I'm too short. My game is long.
Excellent reference.
I honestly, about 5-6 years ago, I pretty much got out of the hard liquor game. It's I'll drink wine and I'll drink lightly hot beer, and that's about as far as I go. And I'm sorry, I'm soft, but drinking the hard liquor made me, I'm an early riser. I have to hit it hard in the morning. And when I start getting the whiskey drinks and stuff like that, I don't feel good in the morning. So I quit doing it.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
The brown liquor, it's sometimes unkind to people.
Oh, it's very kind at the time, but
it's friendly. Yes.
It's the aftermath that's unkind.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's it. I appreciate it.